All right. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody is doing well. We hope that you all can hear us. If you can hear us, let us know. Put in the comment. Let me know if you can hear us this evening.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, hello. There you go. Hey there.
Caitlin.
Hey, Caitlin, we can see.
Hey, girl.
Okay, good. Awesome.
Quisha.
Good evening, everybody. Listen, we're here,
Yes.
and this is the first episode of 3D podcast, and so I'm excited to talk.
Me
You
too.
excited to talk?
I'm
Okay,
excited. I'm
awesome. I
excited.
think it's going to be a good conversation. Do me a favor as y'all come in. Um, would you share this live for us? We want to do this. We should be live on YouTube as well as, of course, on Facebook. And so let us know where you may be watching this from. I want to be able to see if we can see you, see where you're watching it from. It'll be awesome. It will be awesome. So we are truly excited tonight to be in this conversation. I think it's going to be a really good one.
I agree.
Think so?
I think so.
Yeah, we're live on YouTube. Awesome. So listen, this is the 3D perspective, and we're going to talk about a little bit about that tonight. We're going to share some things. We're going to be too long tonight because of the simple fact that this is more of an introduction. This is the first experience that we have, and we're truly excited about it. And I think it's going to be real good. And so I'm going to share my thoughts, my vision towards this, and this is going to be an amazing time. So I'm excited to have Aaliyah with us.
I'm excited to be here.
I think it's going to be really good, and I'm excited about the conversation that we're having. So, listen, I'm not going to hold you up long. Definitely, one of the things about the 3D perspective is that we want to definitely make sure that we are gearing towards a conversation that is going to be helpful, that people are going to be able to benefit from. And so this is going to be a great conversation that we're going to have tonight. So, first of all, I wanted to say welcome to everybody that is in this, um, that's with us for our first episode. And so I think this is going to be amazing. And so I want to share the vision of the 3D perspective so everybody can know what it's about. How do we get here? Exactly how this conversation is going to go. And me and Lee, we're going to talk and dialogue a little bit tonight,
Mhm.
and we're going to answer questions. So definitely leave comments, say some things that will be beneficial and helpful. Um, to others if you ask questions. So, because one of the things I believe is that questions open up the door for revelation. That you can't understand something
Mhm.
without a question, and so I think that is a very important factor to our time together as we talk tonight. And so, again, let's get into this. So, let's talk about the 3D perspective. I want to let everybody know one thing about the 3D perspective is that this is really like a relaunch. This is like a relaunch. This
Mhm.
is like uh, I think a couple of years ago I did a started a podcast called The Den at the time, and it was really good. People were being inspired, but the thing that I realized is that I lost my perspective. I lost my perspective on as it relates to my assignment, my gifts, my call, my grace, and so when I talked about trying to continue to redo the Den, it just wouldn't sit with me. It
Mhm.
wouldn't sit with me, and prayed about some things. And so I'm gonna share what does the 3D perspective look like? What is it about? And so I want to talk about that. And but here's the thing: the 3D perspective is not just a place for everybody. It's a place for people that are desiring to really walk in their purpose and
Mhm.
their destiny. And so when you think about that, a lot of times we go through life, and as we're going through life, we tend to just go through life and not know who we are. and we struggle with trying to figure out who we are.
Mhm.
We struggle with trying to figure out what is over our life. God didn't create us to just exist, to work 40 hours a week, and to just continue to move on. But God created us for a specific purpose.
Right.
He ordained us for a purpose, and that's the goal,
Right.
is to talk about that and to help create a way. So the 3D perspective is a 3-letter word. The first one is to help people discover purpose. So when we talk about purpose, the idea of purpose, what do you
Mhm.
think? What come to mind in your heart when you talk about purpose?
When I think of purpose, I think of this is the aspect that's really giving me the drive, really giving me the motivation to pursue what it is. When you wake up every day, you should have some type of idea, some type of plan, purpose.
Mhm.
You shouldn't just go through day by day and not know what it is that you're here for.
Right.
So that can relate to business, that can relate to being there for your family, for your friends, for your loved ones. But you should always know what that ideal purpose is day to day.
Yeah, yeah, and that's true. A lot of us, we don't feel like we're born with something.
Mm-hmm.
We are graced with something. We have been given the ability to exist for a reason.
Right.
That God created us for a reason, and that reason is so important that
Mm-hmm.
we truly understand that
Right.
in our lives, and so that's what our goal is to really understand that we are born with a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing: we're born with a purpose, but not everybody walk in that purpose.
Right.
Not everybody walk in that identity,
Mm-hmm.
that reason for being.
Right.
And so this is what the 3D perspective is about. It's about helping people understand their purpose, understand their call, understand why they exist.
Mm-hmm.
Because the truth of the matter is, people, we go through life and not have nothing. We feel like, we can work and do so many different things, but not have anything
Right.
to offer. And so the 3D perspective is to help. That's the first D, to help people discover purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Purpose. Here's my thought to that. When you discover your purpose, you begin to live with intentionality.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you know, that's a good one,
Intentional.
right?
Yeah, you
You
gotta
get to
be
live.
intentional.
Yeah, you live intentionally.
You do.
Because sometimes we just live and we just going by to go by, but
Mm-hmm.
fail to realize, like, when you understand who you are,
Mm-hmm.
every decision you make aligns. Every decision you do, you whatever you do, your job, the people you hang with, the
Mm-hmm.
people that you connect with, even come down to marriage. When you
Right.
know your purpose and who God made you to be,
Mm-hmm.
that helps you navigate life. And so I think that's so important
It
that we
is.
really wrap our mind around the fact that, hey, hold up, we can't be all that
No,
God called us to be or exist in this world without really understanding who we are and who
absolutely.
God made us to be.
Right.
So that's key, right?
That's key for sure.
Yeah, I think that's very powerful.
It is.
And so and the second D to that is called so we got the discover purpose,
Mm-hmm.
but also develop potential.
Right.
Let's talk about you for a bit. I think that's a thing.
Okay, let me
You,
sit on up for this.
I talk about you for a second. Talk about your journey. I mean, go ahead. I think that's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, it is. For a lot of you guys that don't know that are watching, I see y'all, appreciate y'all. Um, I started off, a lot of people don't really know this, but I started off selling lashes and I also sold like detox tea, like
Mhm.
way back when. But not realizing that that was the start of my entrepreneurial journey. But I always knew that I had that drive. My dad, started off being a landlord, so I always kind of seen that go-getter type mentality. So I kind of, followed suit. That led into me making clothing, so I had the clothing business for a little while,
Mhm.
still sold the lashes. And then eventually, with that came making my own marketing materials for my clothing business and
Mhm.
lashes. And then people would ask me, who made your marketing material, who did design your website, your
Yeah.
business cards, all that stuff. And when I would tell them it was me, they would ask me like, hey, can you do mine? Because you're actually really good.
Yeah.
And that's, a lot of self-doubt kind of was significant at that time because I didn't think I was all that good,
Yeah.
but I say that to say that sometimes you need people that have, your best interest that can really push you because I had friends in my corner that was like, Aaliyah, like, you're really good. Like, you
Yeah.
really should pursue graphic design. You really should, take it serious. And, fast forward now, I had to close my books last month because I was booked and busy. And,
Yeah.
now I'm a photographer, got my own studio. And, it's like I just kept climbing up that ladder,
Yeah.
So, anybody who looks at me as a girl here in Muskegon, just making it happen, following my dreams, just, really maximizing my day, my 24 hours, to eventually be able to look back on my early 30s like, okay, you
Yeah.
did what you were supposed to do.
Yeah.
And me having a great relationship with God, like that's one of the best things that I could have
Yeah.
did,
Yeah.
because starting off my entrepreneurial journey, I didn't have the strongest relationship with God,
Yeah.
and I seen where I fell short in a lot of things. And now I rely on God to lead me every way, and here I am.
I think that's key. I seen Pastor Dockery put that comment up on there if you can. Uh, Demetrio Dockery, he talked about how it's so important that when we see vision, see a purpose, we can't see it. We just can't see it in like a singular perspective. I can't fully see the comment, but it's so important that purpose is a big thing, and it's important in our lives that we move in that level of purpose. But here's the thing about it, and I want to connect with you on that one because purpose without developing our potential is just wasted existence. That yes, we have a purpose, but it is so important to develop
right
that potential in us, because purpose is, potential is birth because purpose exists.
Right.
And if we don't develop those skills and those those abilities, we won't be able to move forward.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you did. You went on that journey, joined our church a few years ago, and you went on the journey of discovering yourself. And when you find out this creative gene in you, you developed it. You develop your content. You develop your ability to be creative. And I think that's a point that we have to have when it comes to this type of walk. And this is the way we need to move, is that we got to have a mindset of like developing ourselves. Because sometimes we lack, we desire to get in that game, but we don't want to develop the skill to be able to manage the game, to win that game. And it's so important. That's why I want to develop the 3D perspective, help people discover their purpose, but also create a space for people to develop their potential. And so that way they can become more. We all need those spaces. Creatives need spaces.
We do.
And we always think about creatives as a secular perspective, but it's a kingdom one, man. It's a kingdom one.
It is.
God created us and he gave us that gene, that gift on the inside of us. And it's up to us to develop that, to water our seed, to cultivate our seed in the seed of potential. And so I think that's real key.
Yes.
That's real key. Here's a quote I got that I wrote. You were never called to play it safe. You were called to make a difference.
That's a good one.
Yeah. And here's another one. Potential is not what you could do. It is what you were created to do. It's not what you can do. It's what you created to do. And in other words, is sometimes when we think about potential, we think about our, like for me, I can do multiple things, but you can be wasting your energy doing things that you were not called to do.
Right. You're not called to do everything.
I'm learning that. I'm learning that. I feel like that was a little shake, but I'm learning that. I'm learning that you got to, and it's so important. I'm always booked and busy. We can be like, we got to make sure that we develop who we are and what is on our life. And so I think that's real key. I think that's real key.
No, I'm speaking from myself too, because I try to do everything too.
Yeah.
They're quick to call us a jack of all trades, but I don't want to be a jack of all trades.
Right. Yeah, you want to be gifted and graced in the lane God has ordained for you. Exactly. He made for you. Right. He set apart for you, and that's so important that we really start to really focus on that. And so, I mean, again, we got to discover our purpose, develop our potential, and then deploy in leadership.
Yes.
But we also can say deploy in impact,
Okay.
which is leadership.
Yeah.
And so that God is like, He didn't just create us, but He created us to make an impact in the world.
Right.
And a great way of doing that is being a leader, a difference maker,
Mm-hmm.
in the world. And so we want to be able to push people to jump out there.
Right.
I realize, like, even our conversation, sometimes you'll tell me how things are going, and I'm just like, just jump out there. I even share with you, like, hey, platform's gonna come, moment's gonna come. And I really had to push you to jump out there because you was just already swimming. But I encourage you to stay swimming.
Right.
And so I think it's so important that
I appreciate that too.
Yeah, everybody want the impact.
Right.
Everybody want to jump out there.
Mm-hmm.
But we fail to realize, I think some of us that's tuning in right now can probably take this perspective at it, is sometimes you can be jumping out there, trying to make a change, but not know what you're doing.
Right.
We're going to school, but we don't know what we're going to school for. So we're wasting so many times. So I think it's so important to know that part so you can make an impact in the world.
Absolutely.
I seen a comment that was put up there. Put that comment back up. I'm trying to see if I can see that comment. We really can see that. Let me see this. I want to read that comment. I'm going to take the time to read that comment. So y'all hold on. I want to read that comment. I think it's so important. So we can, there it is. Oh, that's good. You're not called to do everything. Oh Lord. Yes. Yes. I read it.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
It's
you're not,
you're
not called to everything. And I mean, that's something I learned, you're not called to everything. You're called to something.
Right.
We're graced for something, but we're not called to everything.
Exactly.
And that's the thing that we want to make sure that when you're part of the 3D perspective, you knowing your area of impact,
right,
your area of grace, you're creative, your journey has went multiple areas.
Yeah.
Lashes, clothing, flyers, taking shots for people's content, for their product.
Yeah. Product photography. I mean, and I would have never thought I would be here.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. But just think about the impact that we can make in people's lives when we know.
Right.
When we know. And I think that is a big piece. We want you to know, we want you to know it's not about the fame, but it's about the impact.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, like, just the amount of people that come to me and tell me, like, Aaliyah, you inspired me, or, you motivated me to do this, or, like, to stop procrastinating, because, I work 32 hours a week plus manage those things. So people are like, if you can do it, like, I can do it, and I really didn't realize that I had that much of an influence or impact per se on, people wanting to put, one foot in front of the other and just pursue what they need to pursue and get things done. So, that just ensures me that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
So
and that's important. So we and that's wonderful. That impact came by way of walking through that process that you took time discovering, took time to develop.
Right.
Then took time to deploy.
Right.
And if we want to make a very powerful impact, we must learn to take the time to develop ourselves. But we can't develop ourselves if we don't know ourselves.
Right.
And the way we know ourselves, it was that we got to identify ourselves by what God called us and made us to be.
Right.
And so I think that is very, very important. Yeah. Oh, there's your mom, your mother right there.
Mama. I told you I was gonna make it one day.
You will know your calling because you will. Let me say it again. You will know your calling because you will feel the peace within.
That's true.
That's very powerful.
That is true.
You'll feel the peace of God within ourselves. My wife says, "Come on, impact." Yes, that's what we desire to have is true impact. We need to have true impact in our lives. So that's so important. And so this is what the 3D perspective is really, it's really about. It's
Mhm.
really about helping people really know
Right.
who they are,
Mhm.
what they can do, and the lane they're called to.
That's
That's
good.
them
That's
bars.
good. That's
Them
them
some bars,
bars.
y'all.
Them
That was some
bars.
bars. Who you are,
Ooh, wait, that's a
what
Grammy.
you can do, and what you're called to, what lane you're called to. And I think that's so important, and so it's not. Now I want to make this clear to everybody that the 3D perspective is not it's not just about motivation.
Mhm.
It's about helping people. Like, really, it's not about just getting people excited.
Right.
It's not about a place where you just come and get a motivational message.
Right.
It's
That's true.
about helping people have actual tools,
Mhm.
to be able to know who they are,
Right.
what they're really called to do. That is my inspiration. That's my desire, is to really help people to really, like, move beyond
Mhm.
that level. One of the things that really brought this to my heart was when I remember when I moved to our location at the church. And when I was here, I was like, there was a message like God gave me in my heart about really understanding purpose.
Mhm.
And there was an overwhelming passion in my heart because I realized, like, one of the things, my father died when I'm a few years away from the age my dad was when he passed.
Mm.
And, he made an impact, but I don't think that he fully lived in the purpose, full purpose.
Gotcha.
And so one of the things that I realized is that we can live our life and not really understand purpose. And so one of the things is that I don't want to leave this world not fulfilling what God called. And so that
Mm.
became a real burning passion for me,
Right.
to help people understand that area in life. Uh, Laquisha says, you're not called to do everything, but you can be called to do multiple things.
Mhm.
God gives you more than one purpose. When it's from him, they will align perfectly.
That
That's
is
very
true.
powerful. That is
That
very
is.
true.
That is
That
true.
God gives you more than one thing
Mhm.
to be able to fulfill in this earth.
Right.
He can gift you, but you got to know that.
Right.
You have to
Exactly.
know what that is in that area,
For sure.
for sure. And so I think that's
Mhm.
so important. And so we want people to embrace their identity. We want people to embrace who they are. We want people to, embrace their gifts,
Right.
not be afraid, not be scared to do it,
Right.
not be timid to do it, not have anxiety, but like
Mhm.
really step out,
Exactly.
like really
And stand on it.
accomplish. Yes, yes, and stand on it. We can. What happens? Here's a thought that I want everybody to think about. What happens the day that you decide to fulfill the purpose and walk in your potential and make an impact?
Mhm.
What would happen if all you needed to do is just do that, and you'll see change happen in your family?
Right. That's
The
true.
things that you've been praying about, things that you've been believing for, things that you've been grinding. Some of us, I don't know if that's a word, hip word now.
Yeah.
It's a hip word now still. Okay. So
Yeah.
some of the things that we really press to do
Uh-huh.
in this world.
Mhm.
And but if we just align
Right.
to our
Exactly.
potential,
Mhm.
how much freedom that will really come
For sure.
in our lives, in our families, in this community, in this world. So this is
Right.
what our goal is. This is what our desire is. This is what we're going to do. And so I want to lay out that. So I believe that I believe this is going to be an awesome time.
I do too.
I think this is going to be really good. I think this is going to be impactful time.
Yes.
3D perspective is just a seed
It is.
to a bigger vision
It is.
that will come. It's just a seed in the ground to help people along this journey.
And I'm glad to be a part of it.
I'm glad that
Like,
you're a
thank
part of
you.
it.
Thank
Glad
you.
that you're a part of it, and
Yeah.
I'm excited. So just to share more about what we're going to be doing, we're going to be having we're going to have different interviews. We're going to set up different times with different individuals
Mhm.
that are gifted in certain areas. We're going to create space for that. We're going to have conversation on leadership. We're going to have conversation about money. We're going to have conversation about creative content. We're going to have conversations about multi businesses, how to
Mhm.
develop that. This is like an area like to really develop people.
Right.
Even talk about church.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about that. We're going
Yeah.
to talk about all this. So this is an area that we want everybody. We want to hit all of these sections
Got you.
because this is just too many gifts, too many graces, out here, and we want to build up the people.
For sure.
And so we excited about that, and look forward to it, and I look forward to a whole lot of things, and so.
So do
Um,
I.
and our goal, and here's the thing that I learned the first go round is that every week, I got a family of six. It's six of us. It's six of us. And so I think that taking it at a good pace
Right.
is so important. And so right now, our goal is to really push this out every other week. And then hopefully on the off weeks we have 1 week where we do live, 1 week we plan to do interviews, so you can
Mhm.
still have some content, some things to be able to listen in for, to be able to have, and so that way you can be inspired.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and I think the summer is going to be amazing. So
I do too.
yeah, yeah, I think it's
This
going
is
to be
good. This
awesome.
is
It's
good.
going to be awesome. So yeah, I think that's pretty much like just the vision
Yeah.
of us. And I think I want to just make sure that I want to conclude in this thought here.
Hmm.
Talk about the importance of the creative having that space. How has it been for you?
Yeah. So I'm gonna touch on like just as a community,
Mhm.
starting that. So in the African American community, you don't really have a outlet of a lot of minority based creatives,
Mhm.
whether it is graphic design, whether it is photography. Um, so having that, like me solely, I rely on a lot of people like from out of state.
Mhm.
This one
Mhm.
from out of state, from people that are in my corner that have a sense of creativity, but they're
Mhm.
not kind of like utilizing it to the best of their ability. So we kind of rely on one another to kind of bring that out of one another,
Mhm.
and that's so important, to have like-minded people that can give you that push. So I feel like as a creative, you have to think about who you want to surround yourself with,
Mhm.
even if you're not a creative,
Mhm.
even if you're in another, branch of expertise, but really think about the people that can motivate you and bring that best out of you.
Yeah.
So that's something to always keep in mind. Your inner circle is really going to bring out the best of you.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what happened with me. I pair myself with people that we have, 5-year goals, 10-year goals,
Mhm.
that we actually day by day we strive towards those goals.
Mhm.
A lot of people, like, if your friend can't tell you what their 5-year game plan is, a 5-year goal, then you got to really think about that stuff.
Yeah.
And not everyone should value your time.
Yeah.
So, and you shouldn't value theirs. You got to really think about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's just food for thought for a lot of people. But the takeaway is to always just pair yourself with people that share similar interests,
Yeah.
share similar values, and of course have a relationship with God.
Yes, which is the very key in the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think this is gonna be exciting. So if y'all excited to be a part of this and are looking forward to some of the things, I want you to just put in the chat, I'm excited. I'm excited. Let us know, because this is going to be an amazing time, and I
For
think it's going
sure.
to be life changing, um, for so many individuals. And so
Mm-hmm.
I am excited.
I
Miss
am too.
Aaliyah is excited, and this is going to be great. And we look forward to it. We look forward to the conversations. We look forward to uh, the impact
Yes.
that we're going to have in many people's lives. I want to leave everybody because again, we wanted to keep it as simple
Right. Very. I
tonight. Didn't
mean,
want to drag it.
introduction.
Yep,
Yeah.
introduction. We're gonna go more in depth and have more things to offer very soon. So we're gonna share within 2 weeks. So again, every other Tuesday is our goal. I'll be on. Miss Leah will be jumping on. We're gonna work this thing together. But I'm gonna leave with you this thought: you were made to discover, you were made to develop, and
Mm-hmm.
you were made to deploy.
Mm-hmm.
That God made you to do more.
Yes.
And this is the time, this is the hour, this is the season that we are going to move into more. And I just believe that as long as you continue to stay focused and not be afraid of the things that are around you, and willing to take this season, because the violent take it by force. We're ready to conquer, and we're ready to build, not only for our families, not only for our community, but most importantly for God's kingdom. That's the drip, the direction we're going into. And so we're excited. And we look forward to this season. So I see y'all. I'm excited. I see it.
know.
I see
like
it. I see it all over there. So we appreciate you tuning in. And we look forward to it. Look forward to it.
I do.
Awesome.
I do.
Awesome. So do me a favor, a couple things I want you to do. If you ain't following this page, my personal page, do so. Follow Miss Aaliyah Lane's page, as well as go to our YouTube, look up my name, Kevin McLeod Jr. dash KMJ. You can find the YouTube channel, and you can also subscribe there. We're going to continue to build this season, this community, and we want you to be a part of it. We can't do this without you being a part of it.
Right.
And we look forward to the things that are coming. So, all right. I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think that's it. We got to come up with something real creative.
Like the ending.
Yeah, to end it.
Okay. I'm gonna be thinking.
we have to come up with something real creative to end it. But we appreciate everybody. Thanks for sitting in, and y'all have a wonderful, until next time.
Bye guys.
Stay tuned to the 3D perspective.